12 days of Housecast, festive fun all year. Best bits, laughs and legends, bringing Christmas cheer. So press play and join us, you know what we're about. Stories, banter, magic, up the house, let's shout.
So we're nowhere near ready for first team cricket, and I had a traumatic experience down at Burnley against James Anderson. I think
what happened there?
One of games at well, not much. I played against. Going back, I played against Todmorden at home, and their pro were a big Aussie lad called Matt Nichols, and he were absolutely rapid. And night before, down at club, it were either Matt Stanley's 21st or it were Matt Stanley and Adele's engagement. So needless to say, we'd had a few beers the night before. I woke up, weren't really in the mood for playing cricket, feeling a bit under weather. Anyway, so it turns up that day and I went down to bat at 4. But basically, because of how quickly Nicholson were bowling, he absolutely swiftly opened batting that day, and I think he did quite well against it. He definitely hung around for a few overs. He absolutely peppered Swifty. And I remember the day after, it looked like somebody had been throwing darts at Swifty. He had these bruises all over his body, and it was horrendous. But anyway, I went down to bat at 4 that day against Nicholson.
He were a bruiser though, weren't he, Swifty?
He were, yeah. He could cough and he bruiser, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Before we move on, can I just ask what circumstances you happened to see Swifty's body the day after?
We obviously played and we're in the dressing room, getting unchanged.
All right, okay.
Yeah, anyway, so I went down to bat at 4 and Nicholson's bowling really quick. So obviously a few old Reds have got together and thought, we can't send Haggers in against this lad. So thankfully, I got moved down the order and weren't needed to bat. So a few weeks later, can't remember how many weeks later this were, but so we're playing down at Burnley, big derby game down there, decent crowd on. I think it might have been game, Jez, when we got them, you remember them waterproof jackets we got that were sponsored by Multisport?
Yeah,
I do.
Some random reason they were yellow and black.
Yeah.
I think it was that game, and we had his photo taken, didn't we? Team photo. We were right proud of ourselves, weren't we, with these jackets on?
Yeah. Can you remember? Can I just interrupt there and just tell a little story about them jackets? They were. Who was it that owned Multisport?
Was it Q Ali's uncle?
Yeah. Q's uncle. Yeah.
That's right. And so we've got these. We'd had the cotton. Tracksuit tops and training tops before, and we'd said, look, waterproof tops would be fantastic. Can we get some of those? So we got them provided, and they were good quality. They're good waterproof tops, but they sewed in the back the More Sport logo. Sewed it through with like electric sewing machines. So when it rained, you got piss wet through all stitching.
Well, Stan still got his.
Yeah, Stan still wears his.
Still wet. Yeah, he just randomly turned up. I think it was one game last season. He was randomly turned up with it on. 20 years old.
Yeah. So go on, you're at Burnley, Haggers.
Yeah, so we're at Burnley, and obviously a big game, decent crowd on. I can't remember if we batted first or second, but once again, I'm down to bat at 4. So I'm sat there, and obviously at Burnley, you basically side on, aren't you, watching the game? And James Anderson's playing. So he was a little bit older than me, with Anders, when we were growing up. But for one reason or another, I played against him, but he'd never bowled in any games I'd faced. And by this point, obviously, words got round that he's bowling at a really good pace. You didn't realise how quick it was until you actually saw him bowl. So I'm sat there, watching side on at Burnley, down to go in at 4. Anderson's peeling in off side screen, and honestly, he was bowling absolute rocky. I couldn't sit ball. And I don't know if you remember Jez Dutch, but back then he was quite erratic as well, weren't he? So it was going everywhere. He was bowling like beamers, he was bowling bouncers, he was bowling absolute jaffers. And basically, I'm sat there thinking, if he bowls a beamer at me or he bounces, I'm not getting out of the way of it. There's absolutely no chance. It's going to hit me. So we go one down. You're Nicky round. So Nicky's walking off. He sits down, and Nicky said exactly that. He said his biggest weapon is he don't know where he's bowling it. So how are we meant to know where it's going?
Yeah.
So I'm sat there thinking, he's got Nicky worried here, and Nicky's been playing for a long time. I'm thinking, honestly, I was shitting my pants. So, and I'm due in at any minute. But what I'm thinking is, right, well, against Todd, Nicholson were quick. They moved me down order. I'm thinking they'll move me down order. They've got to move me down order.
Wait, you thinking this when you've got your pads on?
I've got my pads on. So I'm not watching game thinking what's he bowling, looking at field and what have you. My head's all over the show, absolutely all over the show. So next wicket falls, I can't remember who it were, and I'm standing up, but whilst I'm doing it, I'm expecting somebody to tell me to sit down. And, Dave Wally ran after me. So I'm thinking they'll send Dave Wall in before me, definitely, and I'll just get shunted down order. So next wicket falls, and I'm still thinking that surely they can't send me in against this. Surely. Like I said, I'd not played a lot of second team cricket. I bet he were bowling 5 yards quicker than anything I'd ever faced. Anything.
Yeah.
So I stands up, and it felt like I was in a dream. So I'm kind of walking out, and I'm thinking somebody's going to shout me back in a minute. I was that nervous, I could barely hold back. I think I dropped back on the way out. And still, as I'm walking onto the pitch, I'm still expecting somebody to shout, "Aggers, so-and-so's going in."
Sit down.
It was probably only until I got halfway towards wicket where I thought, I'm going to have to do this now. So, like you said, Joe, I was in no frame of mind whatsoever to go and face that. It must have been bowling at like 85 mile an hour. And so I goes out, I took guard, I don't know why. So I text my guard, and he's at the end of his run. I'm thinking, please don't bounce me, a bowl of beamer, because I am not getting out of the way of it. So he runs up, bowls, and at this point, I think I'm that nervous that I've lost my hearing. I can't hear anything. Because I remember going forward, like a token gesture off, got a token gesture off striding, and he come running down wicket in Anders with his arms in his head. And I thought, I'm nowhere near it, absolutely nowhere near it. I thought he was appealing for caught behind until I turned round and my stumps were absolutely everywhere. This is obviously the first ball. And obviously bat under arm, and as I'm walking off, I know it sounds bad, but I thought, just thank God for that. Thank God I haven't been hurt. So
what a great story.
Yeah, my confidence took a bit of a battering that day, and I don't think I ever recovered from that. But I say that 18 months later, we're playing for England, so.
Send more house to save the house.